Hello YouTubers, another quick update where I'm up to the Falcon coupe. I made a bit of an error yesterday. I had the car jacked up on stands, but because I had to replace the chassis on the driver's side, I made this contraption that goes in the guard to hold the car up whilst taking the chassis out. Trouble is, when I tried to jack the passenger side front up, it put a lot of the weight onto that area and it couldn't handle it and just fell down. Nothing got damaged, but bit of a stupid mistake. So I didn't really need to have it there anymore because this chassis is done now. But yeah, before that all happened, I finished off this A-pillar. It had severe rust up around the top here. Like all this was gone, there's nothing there. It's just that section across here that was left. So I replaced that skin underneath, then put this second layer of skin in there, and then when it's ready I'll put the rest of the section that goes down there and blends into the upper plenum cover. So yeah, it's solid now, won't be breaking. New sill, new inner sill, new torque box. So what I've done after that job is, obviously I've got more bracing now going across the front there because there's no integrity across there. And what I've done, I chopped this out and I have a new inner sill, outer sill, a new torque box, the whole assembly. So before cutting the sill completely out from the inside, I decided to cut the outer sill out, and yeah, doesn't look too bad. Like I think I'll end up leaving it there. It's really just the outer sill that needs replacing. Even the torque box isn't that bad. Like it's only got a bit of the rust hole there, so I might just put a big patch in there. But this part of the torque box is shit, but I've got a new one of them, so all good. But yeah, I've had to put some more bracing in again. I even tested it out. I put a cut across the sill here to make sure that there's no movement in it. But it's sweet. It's pretty stiff. There's a new sill. Yeah, it's pretty good replacement section compared to a lot of other parts you get for these cars. But so make a start on it now. I've taken a couple of weeks off work. I've been doing 12-hour shifts in the shed here, absolutely loving it, getting heaps of work done. I'm actually way ahead of where I thought I'd be at this period of time, so pretty happy. But I'll work on this car for the next 2 days. Then on Monday I'll get back to work on the Escort because I've got it booked in to get dyno tune on Tuesday. So the dyno tuner said he wants me to drop the Escort off at his workshop, and he's going to do all the initial adjustments on it, get familiar with the ECU, tuning software and that, and then the following day, all going well, I'll go in there and we'll do some power runs and see what sort of numbers I can get out of it. Continue cleaning up this torque box. I've got that section there cut out. Just got to put a patch in there. Overall, it's not too bad really. Little hole down here in the bottom, I'll swell that up and dress it back. Obviously it needs a lot of cleaning, got the rust and stuff off it, but I've started attacking this bottom of this A-pillar and removing what's left of the outer sill. And I've used the stepper drill because I'm having problems locating the spot welds. The stepper drill, you can, if you start drilling the spot weld out and then you go to separate it and it's still holding a bit, you can make a next size hole bigger. So as you can see here, I separate outer skin and then the spot weld becomes more prominent then, and then you know where to drill. So yeah, once you got that out, if you do it right, the section literally falls out, which is a good thing. Then when I put the new sill in, I could just plug weld it up then, close it up, make the gap nice and tight, and just plug weld it up. All is good. I was buying these mini hole saw spot weld drills from Gas Weld Tool Specialists and Sydney Tools, but I found them to be pretty expensive, because I was using, for the center pin for the hole saw, you need a little hole for it to sort of guide itself in. I was using this, I think it's a 3/8 drill bit. It's too big, way too big, and the hole saw was wandering around, and I was bending the center pins on them. So what I've done since, I went out and bought a smaller size drill bit, and that solved the problem. But I've damaged the hole saw, so I went on eBay and bought this little kit, which is I didn't know what to think of it at the start, but it's brilliant. No problems with it. You get heaps of spare hole saw tips, spare locating pins, and you got a little grub screw there to spring loaded, so you can put new center pins in. I use heaps of lubricant, and yeah, the one hole saw bit lasts for ages. Like I pretty much removed that whole upper platinum cover and outer platinum cover with one hole saw tip. That's how good they are. Heaps cheap too. It's good. So another thing I'm going through heaps of is the cutting discs. So I got on eBay and I bought these little 4-inch blades. I didn't know what to think. Started using them and I thought, oh no, this is going to be cheap and nasty, but they're really good. $28 for 50 of them. So it's good value for money. And then these flat discs, like you see this type here, it's your typical Norton ones. You get them from super cheap auto and auto shops and stuff. They're really good, but they're pretty expensive. Well, this one is like, I think the base price really is around $8. So I've got on eBay, bought these suckers, $28 for 20 of them. They're not as good, they're a bit thinner, as you can see here. But for the amount you get, how much you spend, it does the job fine. So what I'll do now, I'll keep removing this outer sill whole way along, and then I can get ready to dummy fit the outer sill. Having fun removing this sill. I was hoping to use the inner sill, but then after looking into it further, it turns out that it's goes like that. Go like that. Yeah, it's got a bit of rust. Pretty badly pitted. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to remove the outer sill and the inner. One hit. Just do it once, do it properly. I've just started separating. So you got the outer sill, then you got this layer here, that's the inner sill, and then you got this skin that's on the floor skin. So when you're drilling the spot welds out with the stepper drill, you're basically getting all the joints in one hit. So separating this bit now, and I've modified this screwdriver so it's got a nice little point on it, so it's like a chisel, separates it. And yeah, got to use eye protection. It's bloody dangerous. Like a bit of metal come off the stepper and weld itself into the plastic. So yeah, wouldn't like to get that in the eye. It wouldn't be too good. I've got the sill dummy fitted in. I've used this section here as a guide to where it needs to sit, and then I've put this guard on there, which looks awesome. I wish you didn't have to take it off again, but I'm not ready to have them on, so this replacement section goes here, and it's perfectly aligned down here. Close as I'm going to get it, I suppose, at this point. But that's pretty important to have this sill sitting in the right spot, because then it won't align with the doors. So if it just happens to be out when I put the doors on, because I'll be starting from the back to the front, so I have the rear quarters on. They'll sit when they need to sit in order to line the panel behind the back window up, the rear quarter and the boot. It's hard to tell at this point, but once the quarter's on, then I can look at the gap between the door and the rear quarter. Then I'll go forward to where the door's got to marry up with the perfect gap of the guard, and then whatever happens down the bottom here, I'll have to change. So if this is out of alignment, I'll end up having to chop it and move them back and forward, but at this point it looks pretty good. When I was doing the Escort, I had a lot of problems in that area because the car had been had been T-boned, but it looks like the driver's side had been hit, and the panel beater had done a good job of fixing it, but I think a slight structural misalignment with the panels, but apparently it's normal for these old cars. But I want to get this car pretty close to perfect if I can. Oh, sills painted, all plug welded, drill holes and plug welded them. I remembered to put the seatbelt nut in there. It's like a little thing that sits in behind it. I forgot to do it on the other side, so it's just a blank hole. So what I'll do, I'll have to access it through the hole in the back and put it in. But this side's sweet. I use the spray through weld through primer, and inside's all epoxy or rust proof. So, and these flanges where I've drilled out the spot welds, yeah, it's pretty gnarly. I've straightened it up best I could, used a hammer and dolly on some of the areas, but I don't want it to be 100% flat, because when I put this seal on, it might knock it out a bit. So what I used this U-Pol weld through copper rich primer. It's a bit more expensive than this other weld through primer. I think it's because it's got copper in it, but I used this on these flanges, and I'll just use this other stuff in the big areas because it's a hell of a lot cheaper and does the same thing. But it's critical to get these areas right, because they're pretty thin, so it wouldn't take much for them to rust. But yeah, that's all done. I've just got to finish off this torque box. Just weld a little patch in there, little patch, weld that in the bottom. And yeah, I've got this. Bought this the other week. It's 18 volt angle grinder. Really good, 5-inch. Nice big battery on it. It's not as good as a normal grinder, as in like a 240 volt one, but it's great for getting, like, doing the quick jobs and that. I got this wire wheel from Sydney Tools today, and I wouldn't recommend it on the external of the car, like doing your body work, because it's pretty aggressive. But this grinder, the RPM's not as high, so it's really good. It's great. I just used it to clean up all these flanges, and it done it really well. I know when I put this in a 240 volt grinder, when it grabs it grabs really good, and it sort of wakes you up a bit. But yeah, what I'll do now, I'll just get onto this torque box and then put the sill in. We've got the sill in, almost finished. I'm just doing it of fabricating now. The bottom of this A-pillar is really badly rusted, so I had to weigh up whether to weld up the holes where the spot welds were, but then up here You can see where it was starting to rust through. I thought that, stuff that, cut the whole lot out and start again. So I've cut pretty much the whole bottom of this leg. It's been cut out. So what I've done here, to try to get the profile right, I go as far as I can with a flat piece, and then I hit it with the ball peen hammer just to get the right shape. Plus use a dolly, put a dolly in the vise and just work the metal, but I try to get it best I can so I get a really good profile. I've done the other side, it came out really good. It's much the same as this. You see where the welds are, that's from when it's not perfectly aligned. I just bog it up. And it's really difficult to get in there to get to them ones. Bit of bog, fix that up. I'm definitely on a home run now with this sill. Seal's in now. All done. Chalk box all fixed. I've finished dressing this back. It's a lot of work, but it's come out pretty good. Any of the imperfections, I'll just bog it up now. You don't really want to dress the back too much, because then the metal gets really thin. So do the best you can. Just make sure everything's aligned properly. Dress the back. In this back area, I didn't have to refabricate any of these areas. It was already pretty good, so I just plug welded the holes and dressed the back. I didn't want to dress the back too much because it's pretty thin as it is, so just bog that up now, make it look pretty. But that's it now. I'll pull it up for a couple of days, and I'll take the escort in tomorrow, and I'll get it ready to go in tomorrow, and then I'll take it in Tuesday, get a dyno tune. That this upper platinum cover, I don't know what you call it, but I took that out the other day and stripped it back to bare metal. I'll have to give it a coat of epoxy. I've been slack for doing other jobs, but got to fix all this up. It's really doing this sill just gave me the opportunity to continue on now, rather than just fixing this area and then doing the sill. Do the sill first and work way up. So I've got to fix all this area up, totally refabricate all this, cut all that out. But I have to replicate that first to make new sections, but yeah. Hopefully get this back in soon. I started on this the other day. I've made a new section. Looks pretty crappy at this stage, but once you weld it up, I can dress it back, make it all even and pretty, and make sure that water can run out of it really well. Then that's where I'm up to at this stage. Progress is coming along pretty good. So